It's a new season and, dare I say, a new era for the Brock Eagles. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the Brock Eagle Football Show right here on L4 Media, brought to you by SNS Septic and the Optimus Sports Football League. We'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute. And what I mean by a new era is, no, of course, Coach Billy Mathis is still there, but since we've been covering Brock on this show and just on our sideline to sideline, and honestly, since Brock began playing football, this feels like a changing of the guard with only 7 true, really returning starters. Now, a ton of guys got snaps last year that are going to be technically starting for the first time in their career this year, but they played a ton. But still, this is a completely changing of the guard. And the crazy thing is, as you're going to be able to tell when you hear him, Coach Billy Mathis can't be more excited about it. And I don't blame him. This is going to be, I think, a very interesting, fun year for the Brock Eagles. Now, in saying that, that does not mean expectations are down, as Dave Campbell's has them fourth, and a couple of other rankings have them in the top 5 of 4A Division II. And it's going to be an interesting district season with 3 4A Division II, because you've got, of course, Brock and Graham. It feels like both of y'all are reloading. Then you've got Eagle Mountain, who has everybody back, second-year program. And then you've got Cody Worrell at Mineral Wells, who got them into the playoffs, and they look to be trying to lay that being a consistent playoff contender foundation down. And then you can't count on a team like Bridgeport. I've been hearing a lot of really good things about them, and it's going to be a fun 3-4A Division II. So if this is the first time you've ever joined the Brock Eagle Football Show, well, thank you for joining in. And what we do is each and every week, I'll talk to head coach Billy Mathis about the week that was, the week that is. We'll also talk his coaching philosophies. We'll talk, like today, we talk more about him and coaching his son, Slade, who's a senior, and what that means to him. We'll pull back sometimes and we'll talk about the JV programs, his coaching philosophies, just a lot of fun things we'll do through this season. And the great thing is with Brock, and you're always playing 12, 13, 14 games a year, there's going to be plenty of these coaches shows. And these coaches shows are going to be made possible this year because of Mike Hilburn and H&S Septic Services. For all your septic services need in the Weatherford, Parker, and Hood County area and all surrounding counties, all you got to do is give a call, 682-214-6003, or you can just go online and request an appointment, hsepticservicestexas.com. That's tx.com. 1-year labor warranty. They get amazing reviews online, almost 5 stars, and it's a ton of reviews. It's not like 2 reviews. So please check them out. Also, Optimus Sport Football. Now, we'll be talking more about that going forward in the next couple of weeks. In fact, we're going to have a lot of fun with it. Mike and I are going to do a couple interviews where he talks about up-to-date standings and such. And it's going to be a fun time, and we appreciate Mike for being the sponsor of the Brock Coaches Show with H&S Septic Services and the Optimus Football League. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, it's the head coach of the Brock Eagles, Billy Mathis, right here on the Brock Eagle Football Show. Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. And you can see it all on our YouTube channel at L4 Media Company. Like and subscribe. Terry Bennett back here on the Brock Football Show, now joined by the Eagles head coach for the 5th year of this show, head coach Billy Mathis. And Coach, first off, congratulations on starting year 5. How was the offseason?
Man, I appreciate that, and it's always good to hear your voice. I
Oh,
know when I hear your voice, good things are happening because it's football season. I know we talk out of season, but man, it's good. It's good to be back on the show. And all season was amazing. It really was. Had a great track season this year, and then we rolled in the summer, and the weather was not cycling hot every day. Had a lot of rain, a lot of cool summer days. Boys showed up all summer long. 7th grade up, we were jam-packed, and they were just the energy we had this summer was as good as any summer that I've ever been a part of. And, couldn't ask for a better start to a season. We started school a week earlier than we normally do because we're on this 4-day work week. So we only really had 3 days of, you know, quote unquote 2-a-days, right? Your fall camp, you only had 3 days, and then we started school. So it's been a little different, on that end. If it had been my first year here, I'd probably been freaking out pretty good. But going into year 5, I didn't freak out as bad.
Well, it's funny you bring up newness because for us, for your program, your fifth year, this is probably the youngest team you have, at least at experience and starter wise. And I know a lot of them got snaps and blowouts and stuff last year, but this is a new era for Brock. What are your thoughts on that?
We got a lot of great kids, who've grown up through our youth association programs. And, these guys have been, they're my first group of junior high kids. So, everything that we've done, they've been doing it since junior high, which is really exciting for me and the coaches. But they are the young group of starters. A lot of these guys are taking their first varsity football snap, breaking in, brand new linebackers, quarterbacks, uh, running backs, receiving core. So we've got a lot, but I'm excited about them because they know what standard is. They know standard is best, and that's where we're at. And they got a lot of had a lot of experience, through the JV last year. And like you said, some got some experience, and games they had an opportunity to go in. So same same hunger, if not more, from this group than any group that's come through here. And same mindset. Hey, we're here. We're Brock Eagles. We're here to set a tone, and this senior class is just like every other class. They want to leave their mark. What legacy are they going to leave? So they're excited about it. We coaches are excited about it. I know our town's excited about this group coming up, and man, we've got a lot of really talented players, and from seniors down to seventh grade this year. So it's going to be an exciting year for Brock Eagle football.
We don't talk a lot about your personal side, but I think we need to at least acknowledge the fact that it's a special season for you too, because you're going to be coaching your son Slade, a senior. What's that like as a head coach slash father?
It's funny because I know you and I talked about it before in the past. It seems like yesterday we were bringing him home from the hospital, and two two pieces of advice that were given to me that I'd like to share with everybody else about your kids was one, you'll love them more than you love anything in the world, and that's the fact. And two, don't blink because they'll be graduating high school before you know it. And man, I didn't take that second one dearly to heart like I should have because he's a senior. And everything that we've done as a family and thinking about, this past summer was our last summer strength and conditioning together. A lot of last things that we did this last football season. So it's special. It's special. And, for me as a dad, it makes me reflect and it makes me really want to, think back to was I present enough? Was I present enough in personal times? Was I, so I want to make sure I'll make this senior year not only great for all level, but for my son and really soak it in and really enjoy his senior year. Because my next boy, he's a freshman now, so he's a freshman, and I know he's going to be a senior before I know it. And then my baby, he's a second grader, so I feel like I got a little time with him, but time flies. So I really want to, man, enjoy it, and we dig in and make every day the best we can. So all the dads that have told me, hey, their senior year, hey, it's a special year, and I've listened, but I really didn't know. Thank you guys for letting me know that. I want to tell all the younger dads, hey, don't take it for granted and don't blink because it's here and it happens fast.
Did you ever, or have you ever had an issue inside of you of how to coach your son, like to balance the he's my son, but he's also just another player on a football team?
Yeah, I think I thought about that a lot. And then, I've always told him, listen, I'm going to be harder on you than I am anybody else because I know how things go, man. If your son's not out there being, getting after it and just flat out being the absolute best they can be, people will naturally look at him. Not everybody, but people will naturally look at him and say the only reason he's playing is because he's a coach's son.
Yeah.
I didn't want anybody to ever. I didn't want my son to ever experience that. I didn't want anybody to ever think that, about me or my kids that I would play somebody just because I have to go home and take a butt chewing from his mama every once in a while. So, that's part of it. But, yeah, I've always I've never coached his position specifically, but I am, part of the defensive staff and he is, on the defensive end. Yeah, there's times he gets a little bit more butt chewing. And the good thing about him, if I grab his face mask, I don't get in trouble. So sometimes, it worked out good. So now, man, it's been great. And you do think about that as a dad and as a coach. But at the same time, you don't want to be unfair to your kid and just constantly beat him up. Blaze, Blaze excited about the future. He's excited about this year. I think he's got a good chance to get into the Naval Academy or something like that. That's something that we've been working a lot on, trying to get all his stuff ready to get through that. Home and you want to leave football at the field house? That's tough for me to do. We go home, we watch film together, sit down, eat dinners. You know, his mama, she's right there with us too. So it's a family affair, but I think we've got a pretty good balance. Sometimes it may get out of whack, but that's all right. It's just part of being a coach's kid.
All right, let's talk about your opponent this week. Decatur. Last year it was one of those weird games. Won 27-7, but I guess week one games are always kind of weird. But when you look at Decatur this year, what do you see?
Man, great game. A lot like last year. I know they're going to be pretty young too. Got a new starting sophomore quarterback back there. I think they're as good up front on their O line and skill guys as they've been. Just watching the scrimmages that they've done, they just execute so well on both sides of the ball. Of course, Coach Huff and Mark Zimmer and those guys over there, they do such a great job with them. But they're a tough football team, and I know we're gonna have our hands full. And the things that they do, they go fast a lot. They try to tempo you a lot. You've got to be ready for that type of stuff. You try to go through practice and stimulate it as much as you can, but until you're out there and you're doing it, it's tough to do. So they're gonna be locked and loaded. And we had a big win again from last year. And I know, like every coach, you know, they want to come and get a little revenge and come to our place. So it's been on our boys' minds. And I'll say this: our boys are as ready for them as we've ever been. And we're not just gonna go out there and lay down. We're gonna go out there ready to fight. We'll go out there ready to be the most physical team out on the field. So it's going to be a great game, and we're really looking forward to it.
Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie, and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. And you can see it all on our YouTube channel at L4 Media Company. Like and subscribe. As always, we want to thank the head coach of the Brock Eagles, Billy Mathis, for joining us as they're taking on the Decatur Eagles. It is going to be another interesting game. Last year, I think the score at times was indicative of the game, but also at times it wasn't. Brock beating Decatur 27-7. It was one of those weird weather games. And Decatur, I think a lot of people sleep on Decatur because when you look at their record, but you have to remember who they play each and every year. And that's why, until last year, they'd made it to back-to-back state semifinals before Anna beat them in a great game last year. I think it was like 38-27. It was way closer than that to win the region. And so, this is a still talented Decatur team. I think, like Brock, they have a lot of questions that they're going to be wanting answered in this game, or at least to start answering. I think for them, it's quarterback. Well, for Brock, it's quarterback as well. They've got to replace a really good running back, but Decatur always seems to have really good running backs. So I think this is going to be a very interesting game. I think, right now, I think Dave Campbell's has it as about a 2-score game for Brock. I think it'll be closer than that. I could be totally wrong, though. It's just going to be interesting to see the new guys. Again, a lot of these, what we call new starters, have had a ton of snaps over the last couple of years because of how far Brock has gone into the playoffs, because of how bad Brock has beaten teams, and Mathis has always done a good job of getting in guys to get some experience, and plus just having those extra practices during the playoff runs. People still don't, I think, understand how important that is and how underrated it is for your younger guys, your sub varsity guys to get those practices, to be the scout team those extra weeks during the playoffs, especially for a team like Brock that again tends to go for 5 rounds almost yearly. Again, we want to thank our sponsor, mainly to the individual Mike Hilburn, but also H&S Septic Services. Again, give them a call, 682-214-6003. You can go online, hssepticservicetx.com. You can request an appointment online right there. Again, for all your septic tank needs, whether it's Parker, Hood, and even all the other surrounding counties, just give him a call or request an appointment and see if he'll have the chance to come out and see you wherever you are. And again, we'll be talking more about the Optimist Football League going forward. We're going to have a lot of fun with that this year. And I think that's it for week 1. Oh, if you have any questions, thoughts, or comments, email me, txbroadcaster75@gmail.com. And until next week, this has been the Brock Eagle Football Show right here on L4 Media.